I've got a bait that I've been waiting 3 to 4 months to tell you about. And what makes this bait so great is that you can fish it high in the water column, anywhere in between, and low, close to the bottom. And this bait comes from one of my favorite companies that's known for having innovative designs. Let me introduce you to the Mido Pico by Duo Realis. Now geeks, you all know I've been a big fan of Duo. You know, we've been doing this channel for like 9 years now. You can go way back and see where I've been using spy baits and other baits from Duo Realis and everything that they have. I was lucky enough to be one of the first people to get my hands on the BR fish and the BR head. And man, what a fall we had that year on that bait. And I'm lucky enough that I get some of their baits early, like way before they come out. And I want to say thanks, Duo, for letting me do that, because you're such a legendary company. It is an honor to get to do that sort of thing. Now, here's sort of the knock on that, is that sometimes when they send them to me, they just kind of send them to me like this. So I don't exactly know all the colors that we have in this little box that they packed for me. Good news is they are on Tackle Warehouse right now, and if you enjoy hover strolling, mid strolling, deep strolling, let me tell you, go check out the link that I got. It does help the channel out. It isn't an affiliate link, but it doesn't cost you an extra dime, okay? So make sure you go bookmark that link if you want to support the channel. It is the best way, because we don't do memberships and that sort of stuff. So the best way that you as a subscriber can support this channel is the Tackle Warehouse links. When you go buy gear, just click on our links, bookmark them, scan this code right here, so you've got it bookmarked on your phone. We appreciate it. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the colors that they sent me, and then I'm going to show you the components of this bait and what really makes it a truly unique bait. In my opinion, when it comes to innovation, or a lot of companies that are kind of complaining they're not selling crankbaits or this bait or that bait anymore, well, that's starting to come back around now, number one, which you kind of always know it would. I mean, well, you know, we've been out catching them on underspins and big swim baits today on ledges, so those bites haven't gone away. We've just got better at them. Now, this is a great job of a company that I consider not whining, not crying, going in, putting their bait makers to work, and engineering some incredible little baits that you can use with forward-facing sonar, or like I always say, with you pond anglers, this is going to be a killer for you when you get into that July and August and that pond begins to separate. It begins to get a thermocline, because you can fish this out in that open water blindly. You're going to catch some big bass that want to be out there over that deeper water. First up, and of course the one that I've got tied on, because this is the clear water killer right here, and that is Ghost Minnow. This color, I'm pretty sure, is Ghost Pearl. Don't hold me to this, but I believe this is Ghost Gill. And again, don't hold me to this, but this may be Holo Shad. And I'm going to be totally honest, I have no clue in the world what this color is. It is a gold black back with a slight reddish kind of salmon belly. Even has just a little touch. Be really good on a day like today, I think, for smallmouth, because it's got that little touch of chartreuse on the head. So we're going to talk about this. We're going to use this color because it's so translucent, and I want to show you some things that are inside this bait. Now, the first obvious thing is, of course, we've got a good, and you can see I've already about beat all the flashaboo off this back treble, is we've got a dressed back treble. That's something that I really like. Now, it's a small back treble, but the back does have a treble. Now, believe it or not, this is pretty snag free, and I'll get to that in a minute as we move up the bait. So you see it's got a jointed back, and that's not really for like swim action, wobbling. It's actually more to float up and help the bait roll side to side. Now we get to this single back hook, which is actually kept in with a magnet. So it actually stays in there magnetized, and it actually will pull out and will kind of roam pretty free. That then brings us to the line tie. The line tie is 90 degree so that it'll stay just a little bit up as you're pulling it through the water, which then brings us to the bottom of the bait, this little ball. This little ball, what this does is give it a little bit of a nose down, so a little bit of weight, but what it also does is allows you to sit this bait on the bottom. So a rocky, sandy bottom with this tail slightly up and roll it side to side, bouncing off the bottom, looking like a little minnow feeding on the bottom. Duo's got a little better video than this, and so that's what you're seeing. We didn't build a big giant test tank. That's Duo's test tank, and it is shot front on their, what is it, 9x16. So yeah, it's a little narrow, but anyway. But this is a pretty incredibly designed bait, and it's got the roll action that everybody wants in a lot of things like Raid's fish roll. Now this bait is a little more than 2 3/4 inches. I think it's 2.78 inches, and it's 1/5. We fished it down to close to 15, 20 feet, but you got to work it really slow. Generally, this bait is going to be a bait that I'm going to keep in that 12 foot or above. That's generally where I'm going to fish it at. Now, let me show you. I love to tie a loop knot on this to get a little bit of roll out of it. So to tie this non-slip loop knot, what I do is I go through, then I double the line over. Go ahead and spin it around about 4 to 5 times. We're going to take that loop, we're going to turn the bait up on its nose so we don't get hung on the treble hook, and we're going to bring that loop down and to the bottom of the bait. Go ahead and cinch it the rest of the way down. You got a nice tight loop knot that's not going to get caught on any of the other hooks. Cut that tag in, you're ready to go. Made that loop knot a little bigger than it should be, but that is a loop knot, it will work. All right, geeks, so rod, reel, and line. This is the Douglas Air. This is a $100 rod, and I've got a 10% off discount that you guys can get these even cheaper. If you haven't heard me talking about them here lately, you should know this is an incredible rod, and for $100 across the board, it's really impressive. This is a 610 medium light extra fast action, so I can cast it a mile. I like that light action. You can go with, my favorite is of course the 7 foot medium fast action. That'll work too. But make sure you go check out Douglas. Like I said, I got 10% off. This is an incredible little rod. This is their drop shot rod, actually. I've got that paired with a Daiwa Fuego 3000C. This is a good little reel. Been pretty good so far. Good affordable reel. And on that, of course, as always, I've got my high vis K9 casting braid, along with, by the way, 10-pound test, along with 8-pound test Pro 100 fluorocarbon as my leader. 10% off for K9. I'm telling you, especially on your spinning combos, pick up some of their braid, pick up some of their Pro 100 100% fluorocarbon. Pro 100. If it says fluoro, it's actually a co-poly, so make sure you know that before you go use that 10% off. So how do you fish the Mido Pico? Well, there's 3 ways. For me, if I've got a forward-facing sonar, I'm going to target those fish. I'm going to make a cast at them. Again, I think 15 feet and above is kind of the go-to for this, as long as it's not a windy day or that sort of stuff. If it's a good day like today, a good calm day, then you can get it down there to about 15 and work it. I'm just going to let it drop down to where it's almost over top of them, and then I'm going to start twitching my rod tip, letting it roll side to side. Now, if I'm just going down a bank, let's say I don't have forward-facing sonar, the two ways that I'm going to fish this is I'm going to contour the bottom, so I'm going to throw it out there. I'm going to let this pup sink to the bottom. I'm going to give it just a pop up, and then I'm just going to start rolling. And I'm going to start letting it roll and kind of contour that bottom. You know, if you're hitting bottom, I always say this when it comes to these minnow baits, if you're hitting bottom, you're reeling a little too slow. And if you never touch the bottom, you're reeling a little too fast. So when you're contouring, every once in a while you want to touch that bottom. Now, the other way that I'm going to fish it is, and again, not going to be around a lot of cover, like logs, weeds, that sort of stuff. I'm going to sit it down on the bottom, and I'm going to very barely shake it. Now, if I'm going to do that, we're going to talk about probably 10 foot or less when I do that, because I want to keep it on the bottom and keep it shaking, kind of touching that bottom. That is a deadly way to fish this little bait. When it comes to hook set, both of these are very fine wire, so just lean into them, don't give them any slack, and take your time with them. Make sure your drag's set right. If you're like me and you're 100 years old, you know, you'll back reel. But just take your time with these bass. You're going to catch some big bass on these little tiny baits, especially during the summer. So get out there and try it. So if you want to check out another incredible bait from Duo that we just talked about, especially for the post spawn, we've seen some gill beds around here. This is a bait you're going to want to check out. You can go check that video out right here. Otherwise, questions, comments in the comments section below. You geeks know I love to talk about fishing with you. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell so you get the notifications. Be part of the 100% Watch Squad. And you geeks rock.